Welcome back, guys, and today we have another week of box office, so let's get into it. So up first, we have & Juliet, and that played to 94% last week and 912K to 96% this week and 991K. So yeah, & Juliet's doing absolutely fantastic. Obviously, it would be ideal to be in the $1 million club, but once again, with its stunt casting, it is now in the safe zone. But you have to wonder, without the stunt casting of D'Amelio and whoever that other guy is, would the show be doing these kind of numbers? I don't know. Vista Social Club continues to do very solid numbers. Last week, 92% and 758K. This week, 92.90 and 773K. Now, again, I'd say I prefer if it was going up because I think it's, in its third week of previews, right? So I kind of would have liked to see an 8 in front of that 73. But again, this is a much better start than most new musicals that are opening. And then we have Cabaret, 90% to 91%, and 1,038,868 to 1,061,570. Decent numbers. It's making $1 million, so it's fine. But I do wonder, is Orwellian, I don't know how to say his name, the Peck, Mr. Peck, is he gonna bring in more box office than Adam and Vela? I can't say her name. I don't want to butcher it, but it's Moana. I think they will, and I think even Noblezada has proven to be a draw box office wise. But yeah, I definitely do think they didn't get the numbers they probably wanted post Eddie. Death Becomes Her, 90% to 94%, and last week 1,514,000. This week 1,077,275. These are definitely lower numbers for Death Becomes Her. Not anything detrimental, nothing horrible. They're just kind of seeing a bit of a softer couple of weeks, but they're gonna be fine in the long term. Even though Audra is back, Gypsy's capacity is surprisingly low. Last week, it played to 77%, but an amazing 1,246,861. And this week, 79% and 1,248,827. And the average ticket is only 124. So I do wonder, is the Audra draw starting to kind of diminish? Because it started off like very, very well. I mean, it's still doing amazing. Even if the capacity is at 70%, but they're bringing in the money they made this week, it doesn't matter. But it's just very interesting for me to see that start to happen. And Gypsy and Sunset are both having drops. But when Sunset ends in July, I wonder if Gypsy might increase its capacity. And Audra is going to take an extended time off in the summer. So it definitely seems like the steam is kind of coming out of Gypsy. But that's one of the issues when you suncast. Hadestown had a much better week. Last week, 91% and 609K. This week, 95% and 727K. Hamilton, 97% to 100%, and 1,554,542 to 1,683,580. Harry Potter is doing not so well. Last week, only 75% of seats filled and 815K, and this week, 87% and 958K. Now again, Harry Potter is always kind of, in my opinion, underperformed even when it was at its best. I don't think it's going to close anytime soon because, they didn't have a bad 2024, but it was underwhelming, to say the least. But I think they'll be okay. But, I mean, if this continues for months, then that's a different conversation. But Harry Potter, again, ideally, not even ideally, just, on a basic fundamental level, needs to be making $1 million plus every single week in order to be successful. Hell's Kitchen went from 74% to 84%, and 843K to 976K. Hell's Kitchen is continuing to do much better after it fell to, I think, 700K or like low 800s, but it's doing fine. You know, it can sustain these numbers. These are still pretty good for Hell's Kitchen. And I think that once we get to the summer, it's going to be back in the $1 million club. And it has made so much money in the past that I think it'll be fine. Maybe Happy Ending continues its incredible streak of luck, 92% to 94%, and 802K to 810K. The most it's fallen was about 60K, and that was, I think, sometime in February. But the point is that maybe Happy Ending is dropping. When it does drop, it doesn't drop past 100,000K. For a new musical, unheard of. It's been doing 800K for 2 months. That's insane. Moulin Rouge continues to be flopping majorly, 82% to 92%, and 745K to this week's 851K. So yeah, it's gonna close. Operation Mincemeat selling out, and 611K to this week's 606K. I would like to see it have a 7 in front of it. I feel like, you know, the momentum of like a new musical is that it's gonna go up every single week. In an ideal scenario, you start at 6, then 7, then 8, and then maybe you go down a little bit. But that's how you know the momentum is with you, and Mincemeat's kind of staying in one place, which isn't a bad thing, and it is a limited engagement. So it doesn't matter necessarily, but I would like to see it go up. And then we got Redwood. Last week, still decreased, but not by as much, from 869K to 833K. So again, profitable for every single week that it's been on. But the fact that it's decreasing with the poor word of mouth and critics, I think it's destined to be closed. And I think we'll see it start to fall off maybe in April when there's a lot of, like when there's Smash and Boop and Dead Outlaw, all of those shows. 6, the musical, 75% to 84%, and 601K, which was pretty low, to 719K. Sunset Boulevard had a pretty well, it was a good week, but it was like a pretty moderate in terms of what it did. 83% last week, and 1,001,594, and this week 83% and 1,026,223. So not a huge increase. The Great Gatsby, 80% to 91% this week, and 897K to 1,056,897. So again, still doing very fantastic and not going anywhere. And then The Outsiders sells out, and 1,283,719 to 1,306,482 this week. So that's the box office. Not a lot of huge surprises. Things are staying pretty moderate. But if any show is in major danger now, I would say the big show is Moulin Rouge, and probably Redwood. And then everything else is pretty fine, or limited engagements. So let me know what you think. Like, sub, comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.